Hey everybody, welcome to the June 2025 production audio wrap-up. I'm Peter Schneider. I'm sitting here with Nick Huston.
Hey.
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 And TK Edmondson.
Hey.
With the great haze. Shure announced their ANX4 at Infocom. It's a scalable wireless rack receiver for Axion Digital and ULXD systems, up to 16 channels. Interesting choice that channel licenses are sold separately. So out of the box, you have to bundle it with, it can be, in groups of 1 or 4 receivers. Expected fall 2025. So announced now, but not available until the end of the summer, beginning of fall. We attempted to do a video with Ben Escobedo live from Infocom. Lots of challenging RF issues. I think it really, nothing substitutes going there and using, professional grade equipment to do those live streams like we do at NAB.
Right.
Was not expecting to have so much connectivity issues, when we sort of asked him to use an iPhone for Zoom. But, as challenging as it was, I'm glad we were able to get people's questions to Ben. So if you can stomach the kind of like super compressed 2.4 gig interfered audio, which we did get him to change mics about halfway through the stream. It's worth a watch, or at least read the transcripts.
I found it really interesting to watch you troubleshoot and work through it with Ben live.
I was inspired. There's a YouTuber, Aaron Parecki, who kind of like throws himself into new tech every weekend, and then troubleshoots on the air live. I wished I could have shared my screen to show the different troubleshooting we were doing. The one thing that's interesting to me in these things is ego. I really in my head, I was like, I'm going to do Zoom for this. And I'm going to, I want people to see Ben talking. And I think if I was able to sort of get out of my head for a second and be like, we just need to hear him. Ben, why don't you turn off audio, or why don't why don't we take a break and I'll figure out a way to get you calling into us with a cell phone or something.
Yeah, but I also feel like, and maybe this is more interesting, and now we're so off topic, but, it's interesting for other people to see, not necessarily, our core audience that's watching now, but, people that don't think about, what goes on behind the scenes, when they do a live cast for news. And to see the kind of troubleshooting that you have to do and have to work with and be like, what's the delay? Well, not everything's always perfect all the time.
Yeah, I keep thinking about that. And we have, first of all, thank you to the audience for bearing with us during the live stream. And we have friends that work in broadcast, obviously. And I asked them, like, hey, what are you guys using to bring in guests when you bring them in from home? And at least one of the major networks, it's Zoom. And they call it Skype, but I think they switched to Zoom.
Okay.
So, Zoom as a medium can be made to work. I think between the 2.4 gig saturation and that clip-on mic that Ben was using that couldn't, deal with that interference, and the connectivity.
Right, cellular.
Yeah, I just wasn't expecting it to be so intense at the end of the show. Like, Ben and I did a little rehearsal, and it seemed okay. And then, of course, as soon as we went live, it fell apart. But during the rehearsal, Ben was like, oh, yeah, the show's emptied out by now. So I was like, oh, smooth sailing. So that's the other ego part, right, is sort of like having faith in a single technology and not having a backup ready. It's, I'll
have to have a satellite truck next time.
Damn it.
I think it's a rowdy check, though, for people just to see that things don't always just turn on and always work. So in that regard.
Yeah, and we get lulled into false insecurity. Like for a little behind the scenes for people, we bring TK in through Zoom. Yeah. It's this software called Zoom ISO that was made by a couple of theater techs during the pandemic, and they did such a good job. Zoom bought the company, Liminal Technologies. I send you the link. We're up and running in 3 minutes. We take it for granted. Obviously, this isn't live, so
it is live to tape, though.
Yeah.
And we do.
Yeah.
It's not the changes that we make, other than our editing out our flubs or things we shouldn't say or whatever.
We
are pretty
never
minimal.
say things we shouldn't say.
No, certainly not. Thank you, Jared, for making sure that we never say things that we shouldn't say by changing the things that we said and removing them permanently from the record. Generally speaking, and TK, you come in here minutes earlier to make sure and test the feed and make sure everything is working, and it's not always working perfectly.
Yeah.
Even though we may not change anything.
Yeah. But we're dealing with stable internet connections in theory.
Yeah.
Relatively.
Relatively.
Two wrap-ups ago, I had to change the laptop on the fly. So.
Things
do happen.
Microsoft did an update, and we just said, screw it. Yeah, we'll do Apple.
Bubblebee has the broadcast version of the Sidekick 3 in-ear monitor. This is basically a tiny IEM. They've redesigned the driver. It's got greater frequency response now and more intelligible response with that driver as well than their previous model Sidekicks. And they also have a reinforced rubber on the actual cable, so it's really, really nice, super durable. We have one here in Atlanta out on a demo, so we'll provide feedback when that is available. But yeah, these are going to be releasing soon. They're out in the wild, so looking forward to seeing more and hearing these. They also have released the Lav concealer for the DPA 2061. So if you're rocking some of DPA's newer mics, you now can have this Lav concealer option. They also have the mic hiding kits that include moleskin, fur, for invisible Lav tape. It's everything you get in like the nice little clear case. It's throw it in your bag, your Pelican, keep it moving. All these items they're available now. So if you'd like to check any of that out, add to your kit, hit us up in the links.
Yeah, and to clarify what available now means, they are available in the wild.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're constantly battling is stock level. So they may be available at Bubblebee in Europe, but they may not be in the store. So they are available to order. If they are not in the store, it may take some time. So, as we always tell people, and as we have a giant red banner at the top of our website, if you need something immediately, give us a call. We're always willing to do everything we can to get you what you need when you need it, but it may not be the exact thing that you asked for if you need it in a certain timeline. So just, let us know if you need something quick.
And I would say the flip side of that coin is thank you, everybody, for your patience while we get these stock levels sorted.
Right, exactly. So it's an interesting time in the audio world. There are all sorts of mergers and acquisitions going on. One of the big news was that the Freedman Group, which also owns Rode and Mackie, among others, acquired Lectrosonics in May. We have a video of this. We did a Q&A with Carl from Lectrosonics and now Dan from Lectrosonics, who's part of kind of a liaison between Lectro and Rode. Really interesting questions, really big things on the horizon.
Hey, I thought that video with Lectro was really great. I thought they were really candid.
One of the first questions that was asked was about simultaneous transmit and recording. And they were very candid about it. The way that I saw it, I didn't see that there was any definitive answer about yes or no, but basically they said we're going to have something to say about it at the end of July. So that's the way I interpret it. I think other people have interpreted like we're coming out with simultaneous transmit and record at the end of July.
Yeah. I think because the alternative would be for them to say we've decided against it at the end of July, which is possible. I suppose.
It's possible. So I just don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. I think there's big news coming at the end of July in terms of that. Could be very interesting and turn everything upside down with the flippity flops and all that thing. But, we don't know. We just don't know yet.
I think the takeaway on my side, it would be that it's on the table. There's something on the table now as opposed to previous to this. I didn't feel like there was anything on the table.
Yes, I completely agree, TK. Yeah, that's true. They acknowledged its existence.
Right. There is a Loch Ness monster.
Anyway, watch that video. Yeah. You decide what you think, and then you can leave stuff in the comments or email us, or you want to call us and wax poetic about anything. I just got off the phone with somebody talking about the benefits of upgrading a transmitter versus upgrading a receiver. We talk about all sorts of weird stuff all day. So you want to talk to us about that? Fine, give us a call.
But only for 14 minutes.
Right. For 14 and a half minutes, yeah. This is a weird aside since we mentioned it's not part of this wrap-up, but Gotham now does have a 15 minutes with an expert program. So if there's something that you're just considering and you want somebody to talk about it, but you're not ready to buy, you're not ready to rent, or you just want to talk through something, you can schedule 15 minutes with a Gotham expert. Could be me, could be Peter, could be TK, could be any of our staff.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people on our staff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that would be great to talk to.
Yeah, and so we you sign up for a time, and we find the person that we think would be the best fit to talk about that with you, and we'll talk to you for 15 minutes about about whatever you want. If you want to talk about how not to color your hair, you might ask me about it.
Or how not to grow your hair. You could ask me about it.
You can exactly. But seriously, we've been talking a lot about RF over fiber and frequency planning, and and best practices with Dante and all sorts of stuff. So we have a vast amount of knowledge that if there's something that's particular to what you need, we're happy to share it directly.
I love this. Yep. It's a big part of our philosophy is sharing knowledge. Obviously, that's why we're all here.
Yeah.
So.
Another acquisition worth mentioning is that Sound Devices has acquired the US-based in-ear monitor developer and manufacturer JH Audio. So that adds them to the Audiotonics roster. And rampant speculation, mostly from me, but from other people, about what that could mean for Sound Devices and a potential future IEM. Because you think about what they are potentially missing from their wireless lineup. You think an IEM might be on the horizon.
Yeah, I would say so. It's so interesting.
Yeah, stay tuned.
DPA came out with their 4099 Core Plus. DPA's Core Plus upgrade continues, and it's the 4099 directional instrument mic's turn. Core Plus adds clarity across the entire dynamic range. What does that mean, it adds clarity?
So, there's different distortion levels at different volumes, I guess, or loudness, you would say.
SPLs,
and so
yeah.
as you reach the upper threshold of a microphone's dynamic range, you might start to see different coloration of the sound, right? So DPA has identified that and basically enhanced the clarity across the entire dynamic range, so it's similar and does not change as you approach.
So the frequency response stays the same regardless of SPL, up to its rated SPL.
Boom, that's it. Yep.
All right, got it. Oh, and it's got the new micro lock connector.
Yep.
Which is backwards compatible with the micro dot connector.
Yes.
So all those accessories will work. We're even seeing transmitters now.
Right. Yeah. WYSICOM has micro lock.
It's got a flexible clip system for instrument mounting and available now.
Yes.
All right. New from Hollyland is their Lark Max 2 that they recently announced. This is going to be a 2.4 gigahertz wireless system. It works with smartphones. You can also use it with their basic receiver. It lets you just go out analog. It's very cool. Very, very cool. I like this piece of kit for various reasons. We're going to get into it. You have the option for 32-bit float if you want to. It also does 24-bit. So there you go. Battery life is around 36 hours. So that's more than a day. Decent SPL level at 94 built into the transmitters. So, you could be around loud things-ish. The wireless modulation, it's going to work if you're into the stuff. It's the GFSK 2 megabits per second, and it's a 2.4 gigahertz adaptive frequency hopping system is the way that they work and pair with another. But there's also Bluetooth involved if you want to use their wireless monitor that they have as well. So tons of options. And the party trick here is that you can use this in a 4 transmitter mode, and it all goes to one receiver. So very, very cool, keeping up kind of with the times and having multiple channels of wireless into one kit. So I like it for those reasons. And I can't wait to get one in here and try it out. I've already put one order, had a customer do an order. So we're really excited about this.
The technology is amazing. I mean, as we discovered at Infocom, doing that live stream with Ben, with 2.4 gig can get saturated, I suppose. Although, I'm curious about the frequency hopping and seeing how well it handles interference. Yeah, interesting. TK, when you test it, what's the best way we can simulate 2.4 gig saturation? Do it across a microwave oven, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to take this to the bins. Hopefully I can have it in time for, full disclosure, one of the Club World Cup matches that are happening here in the summer of 2025 in Atlanta. So we have some other things happening in August if it doesn't get here by that tournament's end. But that's the goal in terms of just to put this in a place where I know there's a lot of things happening. And then, we can see how it handles that interference. Yeah.
we think about these low-cost kind of wireless systems that that content producers use, and it was just on the phone talking to somebody about whether or not they should have this in their kit because they have one, and versus the higher-end wireless that they have, which they're in love with. And I think the difference between kind of trusting this 2.4 gig technology and and something that is higher end UHF that is more manual is that the 2.0 gig technology works most of the time until it doesn't. Or until you reach its limitations. And so it is a little bit of a wing and a prayer. Just you leave it out there and hope that it keeps going, and you hope that it sounds good. And then with having a sound operator, with having the higher end wireless systems, you just get more of a guarantee. You get somebody paying attention to it and somebody that knows how to operate it and get the most out of it.
I always think of it as like an 80-20 thing. Although I think these things are reliable enough where maybe I would consider it like 90, 10 or 95, 5 or something. But like the idea of a professional wireless mic and hiring a sound person is that you're paying for those last few percentage.
Right.
But yeah, this will get you through a lot. I will just briefly talk about the frequency coordination police check-in desk duty that I did at the Belmont Stakes. And anybody with a 2.4 gig wireless, we said good luck. They're using them close. They're typically, spread out, especially at the Belmont Stakes where they're likely outdoors. They work just fine.
Yeah.
Did you catch the news about no wireless mics being allowed at FIFA besides the rights holders?
I certainly did. Yeah, it's been an interesting thing. I've been to 2 of the matches. I'm looking to potentially go to another 2 before, at least here locally for the stadium that they have on offer. But yeah, haven't seen much chatter about it, but an interesting decision nonetheless.
Yeah, I think it actually bodes well for Zaxcom's handheld. So if an E&G crew had that, and then they show up at a FIFA match on property, I assume, and they're not they're not working for the rights holders, broadcast rights holders. Yeah, just plug a cable in. Done.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that wireless band also extends to 2.4 gig, consumer wireless mics.
I was surprised that it was going to be for this tournament and for the World Cup. So. Yeah, interesting decision. We'll see how people adjust to it, but having the right tool for the right job speaks volumes.
Who knew? XLR cable, right tool, yeah.
Ursa is coming out with some new straps that they're calling the Live straps. So these are available now. Again, not necessarily in store, but if you need them, we can have them for you in a few weeks. But they are shipping from Ursa overseas. So these new straps are designed for quick and secure rigging for live performances. So somebody that is wearing a wireless mic and an IEM or just an IEM, but they've redesigned the body pack pocket with a tab slit for either antennas or for a dial or both. There is now a cable pocket with a closed bottom and slits for cable runs. And there's versions available for 1 or 2 pockets. So it's a new thing for Ursa. It's pretty cool to have, basically just to have an advanced strap that has had these thoughts as opposed to back in the day, right? It used to
safety pins.
Safety pins and baby socks and, and now there's really some thought being put into it. So kudos to the folks at Ursa.
Yeah, for sure. Ambient has announced some new cables, low-profile audio adapter cables, as well as antenna, SMA to BNC, and custom lengths available now. Special order.
Background on this. So Ambient has a relationship with Reading, Reading Audio, which is their importer for the U.S. And Reading also is the company that manages Cable Techniques. So you'll see a lot of the cables that they offer have Cable Techniques parts. So we love Ambient. We love their cables. They do great work. A lot of times we will make those same cables here in our service department. So, I'll say like a lot of these cables, there's so many to keep in stock. There's so many different brands. A lot of times if you order a cable from us, we may just say, hey, we can make the same cable in our service department using exactly the same parts, testing at high quality, all that stuff.
Sure. But it seems like this would also give people the option, if they wanted custom ambient cables, it would be made stateside.
Yes.
Which is also good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next up is the Soundbag dashboards. They have a MixPre 3 rail that's available now and shipping. Big asterisk, as Nick has previously mentioned, available and shipping, but maybe not in store. All that being said, this rail fits directly on top of the MixPre 3. It's super flush, and it'll work with your choice of receiver brackets, which these are going to be sold separately, the brackets. But yeah, you end up with a custom low-profile solution for your bag setup, or if you wanted to go just kind of without a bag, you could do that as well. So lots of options to kind of tote this around, have a nice compact setup for your MixPre 3.
Yeah, I like the Soundbag dashboard systems. They're pretty slick.
Yeah, they keep everything tight.
Yep.
It's nice.
Cool news from Club Cantar. So there are a few new repair centers for Cantar users all around the world. But I want to highlight Analog Waves in California, which was formed by Ryan Peterson, Devendra Cleary, and Mike Paul. If you're a Cantar user, you are probably familiar with one, if not all of those names.
Yeah.
But great. They have a lot of parts. They have a lot of expertise. Really great for people that still have Cantar to be able to get those beautiful machines serviced locally. They've also announced that they have the ability to upgrade existing Cantar Minis for Dante, which was something that came out towards the end of Aton's time. So now that's something that can still be done. That's fantastic and exciting.
And then I wanted to add just a bit on that. They give you 16 by 16, and so I think it's an upgraded version of the Brooklyn chip.
Yes. Yep. You're right.
Nice. That's cool.
Club Cantar is also offering a 6-month free license for Aton plugins.
So when you sign your machine up for Club Cantar, you'll get a license key for 6 months.
I'm not 100% exactly how it works, but my assumption is that you have to ask, and then they will include those things.
Oh,
but
that's
it's
great.
The licenses for the Aton Mix, Dante Plus, Subgroup, Frame.io, Dropbox, and Stream Deck.
It's great.
Nice.
And basically, it's like they don't have permission to monetize it yet. Right, as it was when Aton was solvent, and they were licensing the decks for or those plugins for eternity. So what they do have permission to do is to give them away as a 6-month free demo.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. I hope they can work out all of that intellectual property stuff so that they can really be a functioning, fully functioning.
Yeah.
It seems like, look, this is progress.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. How it was whenever Aton became insolvent, it seemed like people were just going to be,
out of
stuck.
luck. Yeah.
But now at least there's some progress, and kudos to the people that have put it together, all the Cantar users that have bonded together to make this cool club.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we have some sales. Speaking of Zaxcom, they have their summer bundles, and this is going to end July 7th, but you could get up to $2,500 off, depending on the bundle of choice. So make sure you check that out if you're interested in some Zaxcom products. There's also a deity sale, up to about 15% off on some select products. This will be ending a little bit earlier on this Sunday at time of taping, being July 6th. So check that out if you want to get some deity products. Lots of nice things on offer. There's still some available inventory for the K-Tech Stingray backpacks. These are going to be at $249, so reach out while supplies last on those. And then they have the Sennheiser, the IE100 Pro in-ear monitors. These are discounted as well, so if you feel like you need a set of monitors, Sennheiser does a thing for you. Those are on sale, so reach out about those. Inventory on these things are not in our shop again, big asterisk, as Nick has mentioned, but if you're interested, definitely reach out, and we'll make sure we can get you an ETA on how soon we can get that for you.
Yeah, stock levels may vary.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this June 2025 wrap-up. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, TK. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Jared. Thank you all for watching. Have a great month.
Happy 4th of July.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Happy to our American audience. Happy 4th of July.
All right, America. Finish it yourself.
Heck yes. The big question that was on everybody's mind.
And just, I have to back up. It's not used phrases like dropped a bomb these days.
Fair enough.
Oh,
fair enough.
Yeah, fair.
Scratch that from the record.
And this is the part that Jared edits out.